Picture this: a white picket fence, a loving family, a steady job, and the keys to a brand new car. This is the American dream, right? The idea that anyone, regardless of where they come from, can achieve success through hard work. It's a belief etched into the very soul of the nation. But what if I told you that the American dream as we know it wasn't some profound philosophy from the founding fathers? What if it started as something far more commercial, a marketing slogan? Let's rewind the clock. The phrase American Dream was popularized by a historian named James Truslow Adams in his 1931 book, The Epic of America. But his version was different. He described it as a dream of a social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable. Notice he didn't mention a house or a car. It was about potential, about opportunity for a richer, fuller life, not just accumulating stuff. So how did this noble idea of personal fulfillment get swapped out for a shopping list of consumer goods? The story takes a sharp turn after World War II. The war had supercharged America's industrial engine. Factories that were churning out tanks and planes now needed to produce something else. But what? The answer was simple. Everything a modern family could possibly want. Enter the advertisers and developers, the true architects of the modern American dream. They saw a golden opportunity. Millions of soldiers were returning home, starting families, and looking for a place to live, and the suburbs were born. Developers like William Levitt perfected the art of mass-producing homes. These weren't just houses. They were sold as entry tickets to the good life. They were selling a pre-packaged dream. Think about the classic ads from the 1950s. A smiling housewife with a brand new refrigerator, a proud father polishing his new sedan in the driveway. The message was crystal clear. Happiness is something you can buy. This new version of the American dream was tangible, visible, and most importantly, sellable. It was a brilliant marketing campaign that linked patriotism and personal success with consumption. Owning a home wasn't just practical. It was a patriotic duty, a sign that you had made it in America. The media played a huge role. Television shows like Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best beamed this idealized suburban life directly into millions of living rooms every night. They presented a world where every problem could be solved before the credits rolled, and happiness was found within the four walls of a suburban home, complete with the latest appliances. It created a powerful, unified vision of what success looked like. This new, materialistic dream was incredibly effective. It fueled decades of economic growth. People worked hard to afford the house, the car, the TV, and all the other symbols of success. The economy boomed as consumer spending soared. The keeping up with the Joneses mentality became a national sport. Your neighbor got a new lawnmower? You needed a better one. They bought a color TV? Yours had to be bigger. It was a cycle of desire and acquisition. But this shift came with a hidden cost. The original dream, the one about reaching your full potential, started to fade into the background. Success became measured not by personal growth or contribution to society, but by the size of your bank account and the number of things you owned. The pressure was immense. The dream of a better life morphed into a dream of more stuff. This created a new kind of anxiety. What if you couldn't afford the house? What if you fell behind? For many, the dream became a trap. The mortgage, the car payments, the credit card debt. It all added up. People found themselves working longer hours in jobs they didn't love, just to maintain a lifestyle they were told they should want. The dream that was supposed to bring freedom was for some creating a new kind of bondage. The focus shifted from being to having. Furthermore, this suburban, consumer-driven dream wasn't accessible to everyone. In the 1950s and 60s, discriminatory practices in housing and lending locked many minority families out of the suburbs, and by extension, out of this specific version of the American dream. The white picket fence was, for many, surrounded by an invisible wall. The dream that was marketed as universal was, in reality, quite exclusive. This created a deep sense of disillusionment that began bubbling to the surface in the 1960s and 70s. A counterculture movement rose up, questioning this very definition of success. They asked, "Is this all there is? Working a soulless job to buy things we don't need?" Writers and artists began to critique the hollowness of the consumerist dream. Think of books like The Catcher in the Rye or movies like The Graduate. They captured a feeling of alienation and a search for something more authentic. So where does that leave us today? The image of the 1950s American dream still lingers, but it's fractured. For many young people, the idea of owning a home feels like a distant fantasy, not an achievable goal. The economy has changed, and the promise that hard work alone guarantees a comfortable life feels less certain. We're in a period of re-evaluation, a search for a new dream. Perhaps the secret wisdom here is that the American dream was never a static thing. It's always been a conversation, a negotiation between our ideals and our reality. The commercialization of the dream in the mid-20th century was just one chapter in a much longer story. It was a powerful and successful marketing campaign, but it wasn't the whole story. Maybe the real American dream is the freedom to define success for ourselves. For some, it might still be the house and the car. For others, it might be financial independence, the freedom to travel, starting a business, or dedicating their life to a creative passion or a social cause. It's less about a pre-packaged lifestyle and more about a personalized journey. The untold story of the American dream is a powerful reminder to question the narratives we're sold. It teaches us to look past the shiny advertisements and ask ourselves what a rich and fulfilling life truly means to us, not what someone else tells us it should be. The original dream James Truslow Adams wrote about, the one about reaching our fullest stature, is still there, waiting to be rediscovered. It's a dream not of owning things, but of becoming someone. And that's a dream that no one can ever put a price tag on. What does the American dream mean to you? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on Tales of Secret Wisdom. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more hidden histories.